पुष्पं परिकल्पयामि यं वायुतत्त्वात्मिकायै श्रीललितादेव्यै धूपं परिकल्पयामि रं अग्नितत्त्वात्मिकायै श्रीललितादेव्यै दीपं परिकल्पयामि ॐ अमृततत्त्वात्मिकायै श्रीललितादेव्यै अमृतनैवेद्यं परिकल्पयामि सं सर्वतत्त्वात्मिकायै श्रीललितादेव्यै सर्वोपचारपूजां परिकल्पयामि ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं ऐं क्लीं सौः
Okay, so here I am back again. I just wanted you to have a really lovely meditative experience. And I can't tell you enough how precious it is, the time that we're living in. We saw Jennifer, an African American, with a computer, using this technology to bring in mantras that in times of old in other parts of the world, like say in India, these were very sacred sounds and sacred vibrations that were only passed down under certain circumstances to certain people. But now the times are such that, you know, it's like everything's bursting open. There's more knowledge coming around than ever before. And oftentimes when you get information on the TV, particularly with the alternative TV and radio stations, it can be sort of overwhelming. In the past, you would be sort of protected from this kind of information. And so I think it's very important that with an onslaught of such information, like say peak oil and the Patriot Act, and you know, definitely stay aware and stay alert, but be very attentive to how this information is affecting you. And if it's affecting you in a way that you're discouraged, you're angry, you're depressed, then it's time to pay attention to balancing yourself and find whatever way works for you. Oh, I think we have a caller. Number one. Hello. Can you hear me, caller?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, great. Any comments to make?
Yes, ma'am. How do you do?
How do you do?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Did you sort of have a meditative experience looking at the park and hearing the mantras?
Yes, I did. I mean, I've watched your show on a regular basis, you know, when I can, when I have time.
Thank you.
But yes, it was a wonderful experience. I mean,
yeah.
I enjoy that. But the reason I called was not only to thank you for that, but to ask you about Mr. Ledwith, the interview you did with him many moons ago. I was wondering if it's possible to get a copy of that.
Definitely. Why don't you, here, let's see, does this work? Take this, do you have a pencil on you?
Yes, ma'am.
212-982-0021 and say you want Michal Ledwith. And incidentally, Alan Steinfeld of New Realities is going to try to bring him to New York. We have something really interesting up our sleeve. If
Very good.
God willing, we can keep public access going. We really want to include everyone. Like I say, the Greek Orthodox priest thanked me for bringing my friends, and one of them was a producer here at MNN, and she's also on staff. She read the gospel in Portuguese, so this show's sort of, you know, reaching out. But I don't want to say too much now. Also, that caller before about peak oil, that's another topic I want to go into. But did you get my point about how all of this affects us?
Could you speak a little louder, please?
Oh, it's not so loud.
You mentioned the point about...
Well, to make sure that as we get information in, that we're always attentive to how it's affecting our psychology.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Let me see. I have another caller, but stay on, okay? Don't
ma'am.
hang up. Hello, caller 2?
It's me again. By the way, my name's Robert.
Robert.
Hello.
Hello. I have another caller.
Very well.
Stay on, though. Hello? Other caller?
Yes, Jennifer.
What? Jennifer, great. What did you think about what Robert just said?
Yes, ma'am.
This
Did I
is
think about what?
we have Jennifer and Robert on at the same time. Okay, Jennifer?
Mm-hmm.
He said that he could feel the meditative quality of Gramercy Park. Could you feel it through the internet?
You could say that. You could say
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Robert, do you have any questions for Jennifer now that we have her on the line?
Not at the moment. I can't think of any specific question. However, she did a wonderful job. She's great. She's,
Great. Well,
she's,
come to her seminar, or she's going to be giving a talk in Harlem next weekend.
Where is the location?
We can't say over the air,
Oh, okay. Very well.
okay? But call me at that number and we'll take care of it. Thanks
Very
a
well.
lot for calling.
What time is good to call?
Anytime.
Very
Just
well.
give me a time to call you back, okay? Thanks. Bye.
Take care and be well. Much success to you.
Thank you.
you very much.
Bye. Okay, Jennifer, I'm with you now. We have one line open and someone else may be calling. I just want to compliment you, Jennifer, because I'm sitting here in the studio with all of this equipment around me, and when you were singing the mantras, it was like I could go back to Gramercy Park yesterday when we were filming and just feel the peace.
Yes.
And I'm sure that's what you want to help people do at your seminar, right?
Yes. We want people to have peace of mind. I mean, to me, that's one of the most important things.
Right.
And in relating that as far as creating your own reality, the workshop ties in with that as far as understanding how where you're living affects your life.
Right.
And being conscious of that energy and having the choice to be able to travel in the world where you will have the most power so that you can manifest your destiny.
To manifest what you want. By the way, callers, audience, I want to tell you out there in TV land, Jennifer had not seen the movie What the Bleep Do We Know until she came to my apartment a few days ago. So you want to make a few comments about it, Jennifer, relating to your work? Because I know you were very affected.
The movie What's the Bleep was definitely, fascinating because of the animation and the whole relationship that the cells have, which to me that was very fascinating. That was the most exciting part, and also the work of Dr. Emoto and the effect that thoughts and words had on the water.
Right.
To me, that was so powerful because what he's saying is that we do have this power.
Right.
And afterwards, even last night, I was thinking, what if you taped up certain things and then put that on your body, even where you have illness?
Well, you know what, Jennifer? Maybe that's what yantras are all about. Because remember I showed this Star of David, which we saw everywhere in India as the Sri Yantra?
Yes.
Maybe that's the point of the yantras,
Yes.
Maybe even language is like yantras. Like they say the Hebrew, I think somebody took Hebrew and took tetrahedrons and moved it in different ways, and it would cast shadows and give the different letters of the Hebrew alphabet.
Yes. So
much mystery, huh?
it was just fascinating because of the whole topic of addiction.
Addiction, right.
And, addictions being of what we can't stop doing and how that energy feeds our cells for us to continue doing it was just fascinating.
Right. As I said to you, I maybe didn't elaborate, when that movie was first contemplated, they had a budget of $100,000 or something, and it eventually went up to 5 million, and most of it was for the animation. But I think it was important because it really drives home the point that we're really a bag of chemicals in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I was trying to tell my callers or my viewers that this morning I was listening to Amy Goodman and I was bummed out. And I intellectually knew I shouldn't be because I know all of the stuff that we're talking about, but I still was bummed out. And then I took a nice hot bath, and then I realized, you know, like, aha, somehow the water, maybe it was the water element of the hot bathtub, and then maybe I was sending up a kind of prayer, my concern that I want to take the information in, but I don't want to be depressed or upset.
Yes, that's the key thing, is that we always must get back within ourselves to our power, because I myself was not feeling this well this morning.
Right.
But once again, after I got into the water and just released everything, I felt fine. Now, I just want to mention astrologically what's happening, because today
Yeah.
we are basically around 24 hours before the new moon in Taurus,
Aha.
which is exact tomorrow at 3:44 p.m. on the East Coast, when the sun and moon are conjunct, which basically means they're on top of each other. And this is where we plant our new seeds, but it's a beautiful time for spiritual meditation. And today, which is the day before the new moon, is one of the deepest times, because all of our fears and insecurities are stirred up in our psyche. So this is the perfect time to just go within and meditate and be still. And tomorrow, to plant mental seeds of spiritual goals that you would like to have in your life.
I've just put the number here at the bottom, so if people want to have more information about how to get in touch with Geneba when she comes back to New York, you can do that by calling me. Do you think, Geneba, I know that you weren't that interested in politics, and you were sort of surprised after all this time that's passed since we were in India that I was showing such an interest. Can you kind of see how say, astrology might help our grasp of politics?
Oh, yes, undoubtedly. Actually, I do have a very great interest in politics, because a friend of mine in Oakland many years ago said everything is political. However, it's all about cycles. And the political times that we're in right now is a Pacific cycle. You know, everything is a cycle.
Right.
So, you know, I would like to mention, since the beginning of this new century and this new millennium, it's a very powerful time. And the cycle that humanity is in right now is massive changes. And it's been said many times, and especially in accordance with the Mayan calendar, that between now and the year 2012, that there's going to be great upheaval around the planet. And all the masters confirm this. Therefore, what we experienced in this country in the 60s was really nothing as far as what's going to be happening between now and 2012. There's going to be, you know, massive shakeup in this country.
Well, you know,
and that's the cycle that we're in, and people need to understand that.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. All of these cycles are like potentials that you might use in different ways. Like I was in high school in the 60s, but now I'm reading, I had for my viewers a book that I got at the Episcopalian Church. I actually stole it, but the priest forgave me, called The Underground Church. And it was indicating that in this same time that I was in high school, there were people who were the Students for Democratic Society who were trying to help people in the ghettos. They didn't want to go fight in Vietnam. And now years later we hear the Gulf of Tonkin was a non-issue. It didn't really happen. And yet these people were kind of aware that they didn't want to do that at that time. And now we look back on it and we can see there was more wisdom in the pacifists. So there seems to be wisdom in understanding cycles and then positioning yourself. Does that make sense?
Well,
for your greatest contribution.
Well, the key thing is that everyone is going to have to step up. I mean, that's the bottom line. And the key thing with all the upheavals, because we must not forget about Katrina. Katrina is like a peak. into what's going to be happening more and more in this country. And people must be prepared. And for the people who died in Katrina, who lost their lives,
hang on.
we must be prepared. We have to prepare ourselves. And you must have a spiritual practice. You need to meditate. You need to understand selfless service, or you will not survive.
Right, right. Jenna, but we have a call right now. Let's see. Caller, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Do you have any question for Jennifer?
Yeah, this is Rusty again. I want to know if Jebediah ever shit blood over there in India like I did.
Dear, I think you're just shitting me, so I'll have to say goodbye. It takes all kinds, Jennifer. I think when you raise the positivity, the negativity comes up.
Well, you know, for callers like that, what they need is a nice big breast to stick in their mouth.
It takes everything, doesn't it?
They need some nurturing from Mother Nature.
Yeah. Now, some people, Jennifer, feel that Katrina was, we could have avoided it by taking care of the levees before, and some, you know, even have the whole spectrum of thinking that it was purposely sabotaged. What would astrology say to that case? Or does it make any difference? Is this just nature being angry because of homosexuality? I heard that, you know, somewhere in South Carolina. I don't mean to put down South Carolina, but they were saying this was the wrath of God. What do you think about that, Jennifer?
Well, there's many ways to look at this. It could have been avoided. Bush isn't concerned. I mean, it's quite evident. I just wanted to say that Mother Nature is very angry because you can only abuse somebody for so long. It's like putting a panther up in a corner. The earth is alive. She's being terribly abused, and she's going to retaliate because Mother Nature is out of balance due to man has polluted everything. But the most powerful pollution is thought pollution.
Is what pollution?
Thought pollution.
Thought pollution, yeah. Hey, Jennifer, we're off the air right now.
Okay.
Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Great. Oh, you did great. And we got the number in, so let's stand by, and I'll call you when I get home, okay?
All right.
Okay, bye.
Peace.
Peace.